Wendy couldn't help but stare at the mysterious new kid whose locker was across the hall and diagonally from hers and her friend Abby's. She was also currently spacing out as Abby went on about her plans for her and Tucker's 2-year anniversary. I was thinking about taking him to his favorite restaurant, since last year he took me to mine. What do you think, Wendy? Yeah. Abby slammed the locker door shut. Wendy! What? I think it's a great idea you go to the restaurant where you had your first date. Abby stared at her. That's not what I said at all, but that's a good idea. Glad I could help. So, what do you know about the new kid? Abby glared over at him and cringed. He was just standing there, staring into his empty locker. He must have felt 2 pairs of eyes on him because he slowly turned to look at the girls. They had pasty white foundation, messy black eyeliner, and red lipstick that went on the corner of his mouth, giving him a creepy grin. Although Abby turned away, Wendy continued to stare at his charcoal black eyes through his messy black fringe. He's so interesting. He's also a killer. Wendy swirled around and looked at her friend. At least that's what I heard around town. Apparently he's on the run because he's suspected of murdering his entire family. Now he's living with some rich, distant relative across town. You don't believe that, do you? I bet it's just a rumor. I mean, come on. Abby once again glanced over at the boy who was still staring at Wendy. Creeps me out. Stay away from him if I were you. Oh, come on. Give him a chance. I bet he was ostracized from his last school just because he was different. Still have a bad feeling about him when maybe those kids at school were onto something. Wendy rolled her eyes as Tucker strode up to them. Hey, ladies, what's going on? Hey, babe, she said, kissing him. Tucker looked expectantly at Wendy, who had returned the stranger's gaze. Finally, Tucker tapped on her shoulder. Oh, hi, Tuck. Happy 2-year anniversary. Thanks when I was... What do you know about the new kid? Tucker shared a worried glance at his girlfriend. You mean the Joker wannabe? I heard he's a serial killer and that this town was just the latest in a long series of murders he's terrorized. Are you serious? Abby gasped. Nah, I'm bullshitting you, but I'd heard that he's dangerous. He took Wendy by the shoulder and turned her around to look at him. I know you like weirdos, Wen, but he's bad news, so stay away. Ugh. Abby rolled her eyes and stepped out of his grasp. Whatever, Tuck, why don't you guys go make googly eyes at each other or something? Abby smiled. Not a good idea. It's our anniversary after all, and this is our last year of high school. Why don't we have some little fun? She took his arm and pulled him towards the janitor's closet just as the bell rang. Wendy turned and pretended to rummage through her locker. She would never admit that she was jealous of her best friend's relationship since Wendy had so many rotten luck with them. But at the same time, she was happy for her and knew that she was in good hands because the 3 of them had just been best friends for a long time. All of her own relationships had never lasted long, but maybe she hadn't found the right guy yet. Wendy turned around to see that the hallway was just empty. The boy was still there, staring into his locker once again. Wendy started to head to class, but turned again to look at him. He would probably be teased and avoided by everyone else in the school. She remembered how no one would talk to her because she was different, and later Tucker came around. Wendy took a deep breath and marched over to him. Although she knew he heard her approaching, he didn't immediately turn around, knowing that it would probably be rude. She craned her neck to see what he was looking at. It was a picture taped to the back of his locker of what seemed like a happy little family. There were the parents and 2 smiling little boys, one with black hair and one with brown hair. Wendy guessed that the black-haired one was him. As he squinted at the picture, she thought she saw someone had scribbled a large smile on his face in red pen. Just as she was trying to get a better look, he turned around. Hi. The boy crooked his head at her. Wendy had to admit that up close he looked a little scarier. His eyes were bloodshot like he hadn't slept in months, and his pasty white makeup made him look like a ghost. My name is Wendy. I wanted to let you know that if you ever need someone to show you around, I'm just across the hall. I know it's not easy being the new kid. He turned to close his locker and then face her again. Wendy shuffled to her feet. So, what's your name? Jeff. Wendy winced at the sound of his voice. It sounded dry, like he needed a glass of water. Well, Jeff, how about I show you around class first? As Wendy gently took the crumbled-up schedule from him, an image flashed through her mind as their fingers touched. It was of herself, and pointing an accusatory finger at her. What? Wendy felt woozy for a moment. She leaned against the lockers for support. You alright, Wendy? Jeff asked, amused. Yeah, she straightened up. Let's go, shall we? Wendy wondered what it meant when they walked down the hall. Could it be an omen? Did it have to do something with Jeff? No, that's impossible. Jeff seemed like a nice guy, and it's not like she actually saw a vision or something. It was probably nothing at all.